All right, what's going on, y'all? This is Sports and Layers. We're kicking off episode 4 as we enter the championship round of the NFL playoffs. We're going to go over our playoff reactions from the divisional round, give you our championship round predictions, and start tapping into the NBA. The All-Star game starters were just released, so we're going to react to that, look at more of the details around the All-Star game, and then dive into other NBA topics. So just a quick recap of last week in the divisional round. 3 out of 4 of us got each pretty much all the games correct. But for Cincy Buffalo, Ricky was the closest with his score prediction of Cincy 31, Buffalo 17. The actual score was 27-10. Everyone else kind of had it as a higher scoring matchup. And then for the Dallas at San Fran, TG got that closest because he had the lowest score, 23-17 with his prediction, which ended up being 12-19. There was also the Jacksonville at KC and the Giants at Philly. So let's go over our reactions. What'd you guys think of the games from the divisional round?
I'll say this. I'll say that Jacksonville, they're a team that's, not going to go away. You see that they got their quarterback. And people are forgetting that they traded for Calvin Ridley. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so he should be reinstated this offseason. So you're talking about adding, Calvin Ridley to that team. And I think that what is it like? I think Jacksonville is taking that I guess like this is the leap that people thought Cincinnati was going to do last year, go to playoffs, maybe lose, not go all the way to the Super Bowl, but then, just take their little steps. But I think that Jacksonville is going to be a team when you talk about the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, and I think Jacksonville will soon find their way into that conversation because I think that their quarterback is one of them guys. So I just look at it and they had a chance to win. They had a chance to win that game, but I just think the experience of the Chiefs was, too much for them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, damn, Ridley, yeah, he'll be back. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
And I mean, they did have the number 1 pick in the draft last year, so I mean that helps.
Unless he places another bet. Unless Ridley places another bet.
Oh damn! Hopefully he's learned from that. Yeah, I mean, Jags, they have staying power definitely. Quarterback still under a rookie deal, if I'm not mistaken. This is the time where you kind of go all in, and try to, capitalize on that before you have to start paying dudes. So, but yeah, I mean that Mahomes injury,
right,
looked pretty bad. Supposedly he's good. I don't know how you're just good like that. I don't think he'd be playing if it was a regular season game, but yeah, I guess we'll get into that later, the previews, but yeah, I mean, Chiefs handled their business. I mean, nothing to see here.
Yeah, we all kind of had them taking that one. And I mean, Chad Henne stepped in. He threw his touchdown when he needed. So
like a 98-yard drive or something.
Yeah, he kept the offense flowing. I agree with Rick though about the Jags. Like, they're here to stay. Trevor Lawrence is a young QB. Honestly, when I look at their offense, I start to see a core building similar to the buildings because you got ETN at running back. He's a solid young player. Then you got Christian Kirk as one of your receivers. As we mentioned, you're going to have Ridley coming in. I really like Evan Ingram. He's a tight end by listed position, but like his
Solid.
body and his route running just makes him look like a receiver out there.
Mm-hmm.
Also got Zay Jones. Like it was honestly, I just remember just seeing careless turnovers, like that fumble that fumble in the red zone, like within the 5-yard line, where it was like he must have just been thinking about the hit to come. Like he catches the ball, goes like a yard or two, and just fumbles it before the contact even gets there. And it was like that was a really deflating turnover. And then you had Trevor Lawrence trying to force it after that point. That's when he throws his pick. So I think, I think if they could settle down the like careless turnovers, they were right in that game. But I agree. We were texting live like, yo, this team is here to stay. Watch out for Trevor Lawrence. And yeah, I mean, we all kind of saw the Chiefs. I didn't see Mahomes. Like, I was surprised to see him balling through that ankle injury, and like you could tell he wasn't like the announcers were saying it like, oh, he's not Superman right now. He's just a regular guy. He was still making good reads, but he can't get so cute that like going into this week, which we'll dive into, is just like you got to see how that plays out. But okay, that's the Jags game. And then what about the next game? I'm just going by the order of the times they
snooze fest.
Yeah, the Giants at Philly.
If you look at their previous two matchups, because what is it? The saying is, oh, it's hard to beat a team 3 times during the season. I mean, one season. Man, if you're the hammer and they're the nail, why is it hard? Like why? Like if it happens, it happens. Like if you're better than the team, you're just better than them. And like I said, I don't know. I was trying to pick the Giants to look for the upset, but it was a silly choice on my part because that game was over after like the first quarter.
Yeah, that was there's a clear talent discrepancy between those teams. Giants had a good run. They beat a good fraudulent Vikings team the week before, and they still have a lot of holes on their end. The receiving core is pretty lackluster.
Yeah.
Like who are their receivers? Like, come on. Like, and then they got to figure out what they want to do with Jones. Barkley's about to be what are they going to do with Barkley? Yeah, that team, I don't know. I think they might be headed back into mediocrity, probably. Yeah, that game wasn't really like nothing to speak about. Eagles were dominant all year, and I think a lot of people thought they were like ripe for the picking, I guess. But no, that didn't happen.
I mean, yeah, they were up 28-0 at the half, but I do remember we were texting about this because it was 28-7, and like at one point I actually got to call out the coaching a little here because at one point the Giants went for it on their own 40 and they didn't get it, allowed the Eagles to score. But then when you're down 28-7 and you're also on your own 40 with a 4th and 6 or somewhere 4th and mid, 4th and short, you choose to punt it. And it was like you needed to sustain that drive as you were approaching the 4th quarter to make it like to keep the game within reach.
That was pretty much a give up.
Yeah, so I didn't understand why they would do that in that situation, but I mean, yeah, I guess we all saw Eagles winning this one. I don't think we saw the blowout.
I would say like I agree with Dee's point is that when you look at the talent, it was just like on both sides of the ball, the Giants looked overmatched.
Yeah.
You saw with Daniel Jones is like Brian Daboll put him in a great spot this season, but sometimes when it comes to playoffs and you have basically a quarterback playing in over his head, you would need him to have elite weapons around him. Yeah. And if you just have Barkley and then you just have a cast of wide receivers who are, they're playing good, but like I think that it was, the Vikings are fraudulent. I think they had one of the worst secondaries in the league. So I think it was more so an indictment on the Vikings, if anything, because the Giants had no business playing in that game. And and I'm glad that even it's like a foreshadowing. I feel it was that like you have the top 4 teams in the NFL, regardless of you're talking about conference or not, but you have the top 4 teams in the NFL playing this weekend. So,
and then going into the Sunday games, we had Cincy at Buffalo for the first one.
Yeah. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I had a few people were shocked at my score. And I just looked at Buffalo. I didn't think they were playing well going into that game. I even thought before the Damar Hamlin situation on that Monday Night Football game that they were going to get blown out in Cincinnati. I thought that it was Cincinnati was scoring on them at will, and you saw this game. It's the weird part, and I was telling Darian this, is that you have a team in Buffalo that doesn't seem to be they're not ready to play in the snow.
Yeah,
it's like and you wonder and you wonder why you had people talking about, oh, they should build a dome or stuff like that. You sculpt that in. It's like, what about team building? Y'all realize that you play in where you play at, because you can't build a team. You can't build a team a warm weather, to play in the warmer weathers and whatnot. And it even goes back to, you have to understand, is Josh Allen the guy who can win in the cold weather?
I mean, you would think he went to Wyoming? Nah, it wasn't Wyoming, was it? He was.
Yep,
Wyoming.
it was Wyoming.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wyoming.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
It's also too, though, was that it's they I think that their team was a bit overrated. I think that a lot of people fell in love with that shootout what they had last year against KC. I think that a lot of people overrated Gabe Davis.
Yeah.
He didn't. I'm pretty sure y'all can probably look at fantasy. He didn't produce as what people thought he was going to be. And also too is that I didn't. Diggs didn't do much really against the Dolphins, and you saw, he didn't do much against the Bengals. It seemed like the team, since Cincinnati was more so prepared for it, and also I look at I guess my games, home field advantage. You hear Miami, you get I guess when you wear darker colors. So when Miami plays on the regular season and the humidity is high, they elect to wear the white jerseys, and they make the road team wear their darker jerseys. Why didn't Buffalo wear their all white uniforms? It's snowing out. It's snowing outside. Why did you
Cold.
Why didn't you let the Bengals have their uniforms? I don't know. I'm not saying they get lost. I'm just saying that's kind of a advantage, especially when you're playing in snow. But I just look at it. I just think that Cincinnati is, their experience, and I just think that their offense was too much for Buffalo's secondary. And there's something, and then also there's something about Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Buffalo is soft. They don't have a run game. They don't have a semblance of a run game. Josh Allen is their running back. And again, like me and Rick was talking about literally during the game, you need to be able to run the ball in those conditions to win playoff football. You're not playing arena football in January. You gotta be able to, even I think about that game against the Pats a couple years ago when it was was crazy windy, and we beat them. We ran the ball, I think literally every play.
Yeah.
And they couldn't do that. So they need to establish some kind of running game. Also, I think Josh Allen, have we been overrating Josh Allen? Because what has he really done? Like what
There were
has
people
he
that were saying that he was better than Cam.
better than who?
Cam Newton.
Better than Cam Newton?
Yeah.
Damn,
I mean,
don't know if we could give him that.
Exactly? Like what has he
don't
done?
have an MVP. He don't have a
He
Super
he hasn't been to a Super Bowl. He hasn't have an MVP.
He hasn't even made an All-Pro team.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So, I mean, you could call it, you're playing in the NFL with Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, et cetera. But it's hard. But he hasn't played that at that level yet.
He's not on that tier as Mahomes and Burrow. I don't know who else you throw into that category right now. Nah, he's not. Huh?
Would you throw in any of the other?
I wouldn't put Hurts there. Eagles have a great team. But yeah, he might be closer to that Hurts category though. I mean, than he is to, Mahomes and Burrow. Stephon Diggs is a clear front runner. When the going gets tough, you see people's true character, and like he's not built for criticism, and he couldn't face the media after the game. Like, damn, bro, that speaks volumes about your character.
I didn't mean to cut you off. D. But the NFL they're gonna have to go into this all season. We say it every year. This catch nonsense is just bullshit.
Oh, that was that was the Jamar Chase one, right?
Yeah.
What happened on the play?
Chase, go ahead, D.
So it would have been his second touchdown of the game. He catches the ball 2 feet in the back of the end zone. 2 feet are down. He goes to the ground, out through the back, but the ball kind of looks like it's quote unquote out of control. The ball never touches the ground. If the ball doesn't fucking touch the ground, if the ball doesn't touch the ground, that should be a catch. I'm sorry. Because how can they say that all on the flip side, if I extend the tip of the football over the goal line, that's a touchdown. Like that, come on, what are we doing here, man?
Like Dale, you could reach the ball over the goal line, and I could slap it out your hand.
As long as it's over that first blade of grass,
it's over. The play is done.
Right.
The play is done. But if you're gonna sit there, you need to change that rule for touchdowns. But it never left his hands. I mean,
literally,
his body
didn't touch the ground.
Yeah, it did.
He caught the football. What are we doing?
Yeah, it becomes a situation where you're just making a rule, and it has so much gray area because they want to pick and choose when they enforce it, and I don't. And then when they do enforce it, it still has a lot of questions.
Cool. Another question on the rules, like how do y'all feel about the out of bounds rule where when the defender pushes the receiver out, the clock keeps running?
I didn't even know that. Wait, so
that's a newer rule.
So hold on. I don't know if we're even gonna be talking about the same thing, but there was, I don't remember. Oh, I think it was the Dallas game. The dude runs out of bounds. Did he go backwards or did he go sideways?
Because he was forced out of bounds by the defender. If you run out of bounds going forward, they stop the clock. Like essentially, you're saying if you run out of bounds on your own will, they stop the clock. But if you're forced out of bounds, they keep the clock running, advantage defense.
I did not know that rule.
Yeah,
Honestly,
yeah, that's a newer one.
that's crazy. Like I thought if you're out of bounds, the clock is stopped.
I think it's gonna halt a lot of drives, which we saw in that Dallas game, but it. I mean, you got to give some rules to the defense at the end of the day, though. Like, a lot of the rules do favor the offense, but I don't know how I feel about. I'm not the biggest fan of that one.
Yeah, I don't think I like that rule.
And so I'll give my recap of the game. Bills Bengals. I mean, like we said, the run game wasn't there for the Bills. I mean, they literally had. My goodness, I'm looking at it like 60 something yards rushing, 64 yards rushing, and then 26 of those yards came from Josh Allen on 8 carries versus like 191 yards rushing, I think, for Bengals. It looks like Joe Mixon with a $105. So it's like, and they had 3 players average 5 yards per rush combined on the Bengals, 5.3 for Mixon. Samaje had 4.7 per run, and then Joe Burrow had 5.2. So roughly 5 yards a carry among those 3.
And it looked like that watching the game too. Well,
yeah, that was like the biggest kind of advantage looking at just high level to number. And then the receiving, I mean, Diggs 4 catches, 35 yards on 10 targets. Gabe Davis 2 catches, 34 yards. Like one of the highlights or one of the NFL commercials for I would see every week would be Diggs on the sideline yelling, "I'm him."
Yep.
Where was you at? And like at the end of that game, Joe Burrow was the one yelling, "I'm him," which he probably, wears that hat a little bit better than Diggs.
Yeah, definitely.
It just looked like, like I think I said it before the game, Joe Burrow's in a different class from Josh Allen. And I think we just saw that on full display. Yeah, that was all. That was an ugly one. I mean, I wish it was a closer game, but it seemed like I kept hoping for the Bills to make some kind of run, but they didn't. And then I guess that can kind of put us into our last game here from last week, which was Dallas at San Fran. What was y'all's reaction to this one?
You saw why Dallas wanted Odell Beckham. Well, I don't know how Odell Beckham would look after the ACL and having all that time off, but you saw why Dallas needed another wide receiver. They could have used Amari Cooper because when Pollard goes down, you have Pollard go down.
Man,
Zeke and Zeke, you're talking about he basically at this point, and no disrespect, but he's just like a Mike Tolbert at this point. Like he's a
Mike Tolbert. Wow.
And it's like no disrespect to Mike Tolbert, but it's just like he's just like and I'll say Mike Tolbert, was he on the Rams in that Super Bowl against the Pats? Oh no, that was dude from that was dude from the Broncos. But he's averaging under 4 yards a carry. He's averaging 4 yards a carry, under 4 yards a carry. He had 800 something yards in the season. He's not that Ezekiel feed Zeke and all that. He was his rookie season. He's a fall cry from that guy. Dak, had turnovers, but at the end of the day, it was still there. You wonder if it was coaching as well, because I mean, it's a lot of it's a bevy of questions with the Cowboys, but I look at the Niners, and the thing with Purdy is like nothing jumps out. He makes the plays that they need to. He's not gonna win you no game, but he ain't gonna lose it for you. He's gonna be safe, and I think that's all they needed for that game, and they pulled out a victory. I think that's gonna be different playing against the Eagles though.
In Philly.
Yeah.
What y'all think of? And go ahead, D. And then what y'all think about that Trayvon Diggs play? There was a play where he almost made a pick towards the end of the third quarter. If y'all remember that.
Yeah, and then he scored the next play. They basically scored game-winning touchdown after that. Go ahead, D.
On that one. Yeah, I mean, I wanted, Cowboys have been, a laughing stock pretty much the past 30 years. And, I looked at their roster, I thought, hey, I mean, I could see this being a bottom four, not bottom four, but like last four. I thought the talent was there. I think me picking them was just kind of, I wanted to be early, like, and I think they just proved that they can't get out of their own way. Like, they truly are an accident waiting to happen. Like, like Stephen A says, they're an they can't get out of their way. Pollard goes down. That didn't help. And you're playing pretty much one-handed at that point on offense. They probably need another wide receiver, like Tariq said, Tariq's point, because outside of Lamb, they don't really have any like game-breaking like kind of player. And then you look at their books next year. Dak, what is Dak's? He has like a 50 million cap hit or something, and then Zeke is up there as well. They're just kind of stuck right now. They're the Cowboys. They're gonna get their fans' hopes up, and then they're gonna lose. If they get to the playoffs, they're gonna lose in the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else on that.
Yeah, I mean, Brett Maher missed another extra point. I think that guy should have been, because, I mean, that didn't end up making a huge difference in the game, but it's like, come on, man, you've 5 extra points over 2 weeks. Looking at the numbers for this game, like T.Y. had 1 catch for 15 yards. He was supposed to kind of be brought in to make more plays than that. And then, Zeke, 10 rushes, 26 yards. Like Mike Tolbert is 5'9", 240 pounds, is listening. And his 40-yard dash was like a 4.75.
Damn,
so it's like, if you're running like someone compared to that, a fullback, then it's time to start. Like, it's time for Tony Pollard to take the helm, which he started to do this year. And like, I think, a lot came down to Dak. They needed more from Dak and they didn't get it. The Niners just kind of like kept that even-heeled attack throughout. George Kittle, that great juggle catch.
Yeah, that catch was ridiculous. That was
and then to shield himself from the defender as he could have got blasted in that process.
Yeah, he should have.
It was like an ill play and a heads-up play.
Man, that defender was an idiot. He ran by. He ran by.
And then, so it's like, my takeaway, I mean, the Cowboys, they technically took a step forward because they did lose in the wild card last year. I'm not the biggest fan of McCarthy, but what else was I thinking about this game? I mean, that last drive, it was like, it was kind of hard to watch. Again, that rule with the push out of bounds when the clock keeps running, and then Schultz, like, he had a brain fart. Like, even if you guys don't agree with the rule, you have to know that as a player. You have to know that as a player. I have to be going forward so the clock can stop. And bro, put your foot down. You're not a rookie. They gave you, I think they gave him the franchise tag last year.
Oh, wow.
Like, you're like, bro, put your foot down. And to your point though, as far as with Diggs, if you're gonna be that corner, you got to make that play. I seen the NFL films. I think he said he didn't see it coming, bro. And he just like kind of hit him in the chest. Like, you have to be there.
Right.
You You have to make that play because they went on the next play, they scored a touchdown. Getting red zone turnovers are huge when you're talking about momentum swings in a game.
Playoff games, especially. Obviously.
Yeah.
Like, I wish Schultz would have made that catch at the end and give them a chance at the Hail Mary, but yeah, I mean, Cowboys were just ultimately outmatched and Dak got outplayed. So,
and then that last play was I just want to know.
Oh my God, Zeke at center. What were they even thinking? Like,
I mean,
it ended up being what, a 7-yard completion? Like, they couldn't even get the lateral off. Like, what were y'all doing?
But okay, but I just want to know. Okay, you heard I don't know if y'all heard the backstory of the Colts. That punt. Yeah. It was never supposed to be snapped.
Exactly.
They were supposed to catch. They were trying to catch the Patriots in illegal formation. If they couldn't, they will let the delayed game come, and then they'll eventually just punt the ball. That play, you have to snap it. But when did it work in practice? What happened?
What did that look like in practice?
Like, what was that? Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed that we didn't. I just want to know what. Yeah, like Rick said, what was the idea behind that? Like, dude throws like a quick pass and gets annihilated,
and Zeke got blown.
Zeke got blown up.
That pretty much summarizes their season. Like,
and a microcosm of their season is up right there.
Yeah.
So that brings us to this week, championship round, and then hopefully we'll get some time to at least dive into Celtics Lakers today, because that should be an exciting matchup. But like Niners, who y'all got for the The first game is San Fran at Philly. So who y'all got for that one? Give me your prediction and the score. And your reason. And let me go first for one of these. Actually, let me.
Good.
So, and I'll give you the Vegas odds too. So for the Philly game, they got Philly -2.5. I guess the over under is 46. And then for Kansas City game, they got Kansas City -1.5, over under 47. This first one, San Fran at Philly. So kind of diving into the numbers, like this is a matchup of the two, I think, top tier teams in the NFC. Philly's led the league in pass defense, about 180 per game, and 70 sacks during the regular season. I think they will get to Brock again. You got Josh McDaniels over there, or you have their offensive scheme. Where they get the ball out quick, they move Brock Purdy around. So I think that'll help limit some of the 70 sacks is just ridiculous, first of all. But then the Niners led the league in picks, and they were second in rush defense, 80 yards allowed per game. I mean, I think Christian McCaffrey will continue a streak of 7 straight games with a touchdown. Hurts, I think, outduels Purdy at the end of the day. And then I think the way the Eagles team is built, like they're gonna get rushing yards. Last game they played, Hurts ran for 82 and a touchdown, and the Niners have actually had 27 straight games not allowing a rusher to get over 70 yards. So actually, you know what? I don't think that snaps. I don't think Hurts or any running back on the Eagles gets over 70 this game, but I think that Philly ends up taking this one in a shootout. I actually got Philly taking this one 35-31. I think they put up enough points where the Niners can't keep up with Brock Purdy. It could, if it's a lower scoring game, I think that would favor the Niners, honestly. So if it's like that 17-10, 17-13, I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners take it, but unfolding the way I think it will unfold, I got Philly 35-31 at home.
Okay, that's an interesting score. And I get what you're saying as far as a higher scoring game favoring Philly, as opposed to the Niners. I have Philly. I like Philly by, I think that 2.5 is Like, I don't want to say easy because it's the NFL, but I think they're gonna win by 2 scores. I think the Purdy Cinderella run finally comes to an end. Playing asking a rookie quarterback to go on the road in Philadelphia, of all places, to win an NFC championship game. That sounds pretty daunting to me. I think it's, Niners have these are clearly the 2 best NFC teams without a doubt. Yeah. I'm gonna go Eagles 28-17.
All right. I the more so like I thought about it, and I was having the Niners as my Super Bowl pick, but the way I saw the way Philly played last week, it kind of made me question it. I look at a team like you said in Philly. You're in Philly. You're asking. I think that this is when the Niners is going to end tomorrow. I can see. I'll give you a score of let's say 30-17. The Eagles probably score a touchdown late to really put it out of reach.
Away.
Yeah, put it out of reach. So I just look at this game, and I think that it definitely sends the Niners into an off season where they're questioning whether they should keep Purdy as QB or should they go back to Lance. I mean, it's
I think to my bad to interrupt, but I think that's already a discussion that's probably being had regardless of the outcome of that game. But
I understand that, but I'm just saying that they go on and win and they're in the Super Bowl, it's like, how can you even go back to go for them?
Exactly.
So that's kind of the more of the question now, but I just think that them losing will still keep that conversation ajar, basically that door ajar for that conversation. But I just think that it's going to be a game where I think that Philly they both have stars. You look at, they have stars on both sides of the ball, but I think that stars end up shining brighter on Sunday.
How do you think everything shapes out for Jimmy G on the Niners, considering?
I think he's gone. I think Jimmy's gone. I think Jimmy's gonna go to you teams I don't know, the
Seattle.
Jets.
Imagine him in Seattle, yo. Honestly,
I mean Geno. I don't think they're gonna get rid of Geno.
That could be a step up over Geno, honestly. But Geno did have a great comeback year, so it's like. But I think he's out. I think the question becomes: is it Brock? I mean, if Brock wins this Super Bowl, he's got to be the starter, right? You know what I mean? You can't. But then, do you trade Trey Lance? You have him. I guess you have him as your backup, especially he's still on his rookie deal.
See, the problem what a lot of people were trying to paint the picture further with Trey Lance, and they're trying to compare him to Josh Allen or players of the such. Trey Lance played 1 year in college. Wow. He played 1 year. You're talking about guys like Josh Allen who played 3 years. 3 years, whether it was at community college or just Wyoming. This guy played 1 year. And then he had the COVID season where they didn't play. And then I think they played against one of the lower tier Division I schools, and he didn't look great. So I beg the question of why is it even still a conversation when you know what you have versus the unknown? And okay, you see the upside, and not everybody's going to be Josh Allen. I think that's a lot of times. I think a lot of people they see a big quarterback who can run and who's fast, and they just think, oh, this can be Josh Allen. And we're questioning even if Josh Allen is a team that can get you over the hump.
Right.
So I mean, you're already in this. Who knows? Maybe another year with Purdy, he gets more comfortable, and you start to let the reins loose, and maybe he is your guy.
And then for the last one, which on paper looks like the game of the week, we got
Yes.
Bengals at Chiefs. Anybody want to kick that one off? I already have my score written down.
I'll take this one first. So I believe actually as late as Wednesday, and it might have even opened at like Bengals -2.5, which is crazy on the road. Within 2 days, that line moved 3.5 points. So I heard. I think you said now it was you're seeing 1.5.
Kansas City -1.5. Yep.
Okay, I've seen the thing I use is saying 2. So
mine's from like an hour or two ago. So yours might be
yeah. But either way you look at it, that line movement is unheard of, which would say, a lot of money is pouring in on the Chiefs. So how is that ankle of Mahomes? I don't know. I think Cincinnati is just the better football team, period, top to bottom. They're calling Arrowhead Stadium, which probably isn't the smartest thing to do before the game. Maybe wait till after the game to start saying that. My brain wants to say Bengals, because again, I mean, I'm just gonna go with what I think is the better football team. I'm gonna go Bengals, 27-24, a late. Actually, I'll go 28-24, Bengals, a late, maybe like a late Burrow to Higgins touchdown to seal it, and then Mahomes doesn't have enough time to do anything.
Yeah. So yeah, you already know I'm going with Cincinnati. So, I look at this game. Well, you almost had last year's score. I think it was what was it, 24-27, something like that.
Might have been like
27-24. Yeah, the last two matchups, I think, actually.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, the season as well?
Yeah, let me double check that. It was 27-24, 27-23, but it was the same score the last two matchups.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can see how evenly matched these teams are.
Yeah.
They both match up well. But I just look at, there's something, like I said, there's something about Joe Burrow. I think that the Bengals have a little bit more. I think that they play with another kind of swagger. I look at it, and I don't think that they did it. They did it already. So it's not something that they can.
It's not
sit
getting
there
over a hump.
Yeah, they done it already. They went into, it's not, and I understand your point being, yes, maybe that's something that you say after the season. I mean, after the game. But if they win this game, them t-shirts is gonna be selling like hotcakes.
What, which t-shirt?
Burrowhead.
Yeah, Burrowhead is gonna be selling like hot. So, but I look at it, the swagger of the team. You just look at how they, like I said, they've done it already. It's not something where it's daunting, where it's like, oh, we got to go into KC and whatever. But it's like, no, we beat them last year. We went into Buffalo last week and we gave them the business. And we're gonna do the same thing. And I think that they had a goal. they had a goal on their mind all year is we fell short and we're gonna get back to the Super Bowl, but we're gonna finish the job. And we were this close to finishing it last year. It was a nonsense pass interference they called, but I think that they're gonna finally finish the job this year, and I think that they're gonna beat the Chiefs. Let's say 21. It's gonna be 20. Let's say 29 to 21.
29. Okay.
29. Okay. 29, 21.
21. Okay. So I'll go through all three of the last scores, but it was Kansas City at Bengals. That was December 4th of 2022. That was 27-24 Bengals. Then I think the playoff game was the game prior to that. So that was January 30th of 2022. That was Bengals 27 at Chiefs 24, winning overtime. And then their first matchup was actually like towards the end of that same season. So January 2nd, Chiefs 31 at Bengals, who had 34. So this one is a good one. It's interesting because, like, okay, surprise, surprise, Mahomes led the league in NFL QBR and throws from inside the pocket at 73, but the play that keeps raining in my head is that screen wide receiver pass he had where his footing was off and he just throws it to the dirt. And like, he can't afford to have too many of those this week. And like, his footworks and his mechanics have to be on point with a high ankle sprain. He can't just throw it off the bad ankle and hop up, and like his footwork and mechanics have to like be just on point. Mahomes had one of his best QBRs in the last game in the pocket. It was roughly 80, but his worst out of the pocket. I don't think we see him out of the pocket as much. He had a 14 QBR out of the pocket in that one. And then the Chiefs, they typically get a ton of like yards after catch. Like 53% of their yards are coming after their catch in the passing game. But since he has that, 6th ranked defense in limiting yards after catch. All that being said, we got to remember the Bengals won last year, but they were down 21-3, and the Chiefs left points on the board at the half. I don't think the Bengals come back this year if they get down a deficit like that. And I would feel better I have a score written, but I'm starting to be like, yo, is Kansas City going to be about that? I think the high ankle sprain is too much to overcome. If not for the ankle sprain, I would probably go Kansas City here, to be real. Obviously that doesn't help the Mahomes versus Burrow argument, but I'm gonna go 31-28 in favor of the Bengals. I think it will it could very easily come down to a game-winning drive where Burrow just kind of gets that field goal and down the stretch. I just see Mahomes missing passes that he normally makes or getting, caught from blitzes and like just not enough juice in this one, unfortunately. So this one is probably not going to be. This makes that 4-0 look. This makes the matchup look a little more lopsided than it really is. But hey, Burrow continues his streak, and then we got Bengals Philly for me. I think, for all of us in the Super Bowl.
Yep. I got that. I think I said this to Rick the other day. I was saying Burrow is to Brady as Mahomes is to Manning. Like how Brady pretty much was dominating him, early on. Well, pretty much, their entire career. I mean, outside a couple years, Manning got him, but he was dominating.
I definitely agree with that assessment.
And then also to the point that Manning is the prototype, the talent, quote unquote, whereas Brady isn't necessarily the Brady and Burrow aren't, they're big, they're both big, but they're not like the blue chip type,
Yeah.
player. They just make great decisions and just, they got it all upstairs. That's why I make that comparison. But yeah.
No, I totally agree with you saying, yeah, they're not the prototype. You don't look at them and say, this is my dream to be a quarterback. I mean, when you're talking about quarterbacks and people, and case in point of the conversation that we, had about Lance versus Purdy, Lance looks more of, when you're talking about, what the new age NFL is than what, Purdy is. He's more so in that range of the Burrow-ish, Brady type. But I think that KC can't afford to start slow because of Cincinnati's offense being fully healthy, especially if they can block it. I mean, the only pass rusher I think that you really have to worry about is Chris Jones.
He's a beast.
No, he's a beast. But if they can block it and they can also run the ball, I just look at I don't think that KC can afford to start off slow. And that injury is definitely, I think that it's more, they're not telling the full truth of it. And I don't think that they can overcome that. So, yeah.
Those sacks might come to haunt the Bengals. Right now, I literally want to switch my pick to Kansas City.
I was about to say, I feel like don't lock those in. I still have the right to.
Like if I my contrarian pick is Kansas City 21, Bengals 17, but it's the damn ankle sprain. I just can't see.
Yeah.
Like, Mahomes hasn't beat Burrow at 100%. Why would he be able to beat him at 75%? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
And little known fact about the Manning Brady rivalry, like Manning, I'm pretty sure has a winning playoff record against Brady, which, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, I remember having a bet on that. I'm pretty sure he's 2-1.
They've only played each other 3 times in the playoffs.
Yeah. Let me see.
Oh, 03.
Oh, sorry. 3 Manning finished 3-2 in playoff games against Brady.
Against Tom. Okay.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, Denver. I know a lot. I think at least one of those was in Denver.
2 of them. So he was actually 1-2 versus him in the playoffs, but then got those 2 wins in Denver. So he finished 3-2 in the playoffs against Brady, which is pretty surprising.
Yeah. Still taking Tom.
So, all right, we got a couple more minutes here. Y'all trying to dive into this primetime match. I'm actually, well, I guess it's Saturday. That's why, because we got 3 ABC games today. We got 3 premier NBA games today. And of course, that night one is Lakers at Celtics. The other games on ABC are like, the first one is the Nuggets at Sixers, and then the one in between is the Knicks at the Nets. But can we please dive into this Lakers at Celtics, which should be an exciting one? How y'all feeling about this one? I know y'all are on a Celtics right now on a 3-game losing streak. I'm sure they're trying to turn that around.
Yeah, I think they had this game. I'm not gonna say the Knicks was a trap game by any means, because Celtics played like shit down the stretch. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think the Celtics are definitely gonna get up for this game. I don't know if Smart is back. What is his status?
I'm checking right now. Let's see.
He's out for the week.
He's out. Okay.
Yeah, I think he's out for the week.
I think the Celtics handle their business. I don't see the Lakers are gonna have to play perfect. They're gonna have to play close, damn near to perfect to win to probably stay in this game.
Damn, Reeves is out. Okay.
Reeves. A side note, I think balcony seats were going for like 600 for this game.
Damn, yeah, this is gonna be one of those games, I think.
Ridiculous.
Ooh, Lonnie Walker's questionable. Watch out.
Oh,
Let us start getting our guys back. I mean,
goodness.
I think the Lakers, like, yeah, I agree that the Celtics have this marked on their calendar. Like, how can you not? Because when you think of the playoff history of like Heat, Cavs, especially like we saw some ill series there, especially that one when Tatum caught LeBron, caught the body. Low key, Terry Rozier almost caught him too, and there should have been a foul on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
I remember that.
these teams definitely like mark each other down for their calendars. AD is going to be back in his second game. He got 21 and 12 the first one. We got Roy Hachimura. If Lonnie Walker is coming back too, I could see the Lakers. I see the Lakers sneaking this one out. Like if we remember, the last game went to OT, and then the Lakers kind of just gave it up at that point. I don't think their vets had their legs at that point. But I see the Lakers taking this one. I'm guessing we're gonna start AD this time around. Thomas Bryant has just been balling as a role player, as a big. So like him coming off the bench, I think is going to be a huge energy spark. LeBron's going to be LeBron. I see the Lakers taking this one. It's going to be down to the wire, but I see the Lakers taking this one. And we start to see the value of Roy Hachimura because like that's another body we can put on Tatum and Brown. Because Brown, he needs help out there defending the wings. So that's kind of how I see it coming down.
All right, to your point, as far as the Lays got tired last game.
Yeah.
AD's in his second game back, and he's been out for almost a month and change.
Yeah.
They needed him last game.
He capped at like 28 minutes, honestly.
They needed him last game.
Yeah.
They needed him last game, whether it was for defense and offensive purpose, where him and LeBron basically played most of the third and fourth quarter, and that's why they retired.
Yeah.
I look at it like you still have, Hachimura. He just got there. I look at this as the Celtics lost their last game. They should have won it. They're mad. I don't think that this game will be close. I think it will be more so reminiscent of how the game in LA was trending until the Celtics got relaxed. So I think that the Celtics win by they're going to win by at least around 8 to 10 points.
That's respectful.
Yeah, I just look at Davis, and I don't think that he's back in game shape. And you're talking about a foot injury, so it wasn't. You're not talking about it was a hand injury where he could still have his conditioning. I still think that he's still going through his process of conditioning, and I don't know this type of matchup he's gonna be that much of a factor as he was the last time they played.
Have you seen Thomas Bryant's game though? Are y'all sleeping on Thomas Bryant? He's like a jump shooting big that has a post game.
I'm a comatose.
You said comatose?
Yeah.
What you mean?
I'm asleep. I'm done.
I mean, he's like his game. He'll hit the three. He'll hit the mid range. He's got a one dribble pull up, and then he be
Are we putting him in Springfield? Are we putting him in Springfield?
I'm not. I'm just saying, like, don't sleep on TV, like, because we've been using him like 35 minutes a game. If we're using him 25, 26 at AD, like, I don't know. Like, I was watching the Players' Choice podcast, and they were saying Thomas Bryant isn't as good as people think. Like, bro, he's shooting over 60% from the field. This ain't the year to say that. He's been balling for us.
I just look at it like this. It still doesn't have, you can sit there and try to tell me, I just remember Tatum. I remember Tatum locking up. I mean, Tatum dropping 50 bombs on the Wizards. I never seen Tatum like have a bad game against the Wizards. So the myth that the myth that you say, we got this guy, you can throw a body on him. Is it just a bigger cone? I guess.
Wow.
Bigger what cone? Damn.
He said
Yeah.
a bigger cone.
So
Damn.
I mean, I guess so. It's not. I just look at it. If Reeves is out, now you missing one of your defenders. It still begs the question. Always still has my. I ask, who are your wing defenders? Who's the guys on the wing that's going to defend Tatum and Brown?
If Lonnie Walker is in, he's one of those defenders too.
But he's not a wing defender. He's just a body.
He's Lonnie Walker. No, he's not.
LeBron, Roy Hachimura.
Lonnie Walker is 6'4", 200 pounds.
So he might be able to, get with JB a little. We'll definitely
No, he's not.
Bev out there
No.
a little bit.
No.
JB is 6'6", 225.
Yeah, I mean,
20
6'4", hey, he
Bro, 25 pounds is a big difference.
It is.
That's how you get bodied.
But if Pat Bev can guard up KD, we can put Pat Bev out there as one of our wing defenders for sure.
And we seen what that happened. And you
Pat
saw
Beverly
at the end of it, Pat Beverly was spectating when Tatum hit the game-tying shot at the fourth quarter. He didn't even play in the OT. So it told us like all that Pat Beverly. No, he will sit there and he will get abused. I just think that the Celtics need to go back to playing their ball. They need to go back to being love and trust.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have to, trust each other. They had a few days, they have a day off, and then they're gonna have, a little break after this game. So I just think that they gotta look at it. Let's get in. Let's handle business. Like I said, I just look at the Lakers team, and they're still lacking as far as in wing guys. I mean, defenders. Like you're talking about Troy Brown
and shooting.
Yeah.
Troy
Yes.
Brown, Hachimura, Brown.
And shooting
y'all can say like Eric. I know all the Lakers fans be like, "Oh, they're the 13th seed, but they're only 3 games out of 4th." Yeah, and y'all are also shit. What is it?
I mean, we're 9 games out of 14 though. Don't try to go the opposite way.
My bad. I fucked that up. I literally misread that. My bad. Nigga, y'all are the 13th seed. Damn.
The Lakers have a benefit of the fact that the Western Conference is piss poor. If you even look at the Western Conference when you talk about the All-Star team, it was like, how is Zion? And then the next person after him was Anthony Davis. Like for the front court, it was just like, how many games did they play?
Yeah.
How many games did they play for you to sit there and say, yes, he can, like where you saw in the East, there was a definitely log jam at that front court position. You're talking about 4 guys who you can legitimately say, all right, these 4 can start. And you had KD, Giannis, Tatum, and who's the 4th?
What are you talking about?
Giannis, Tatum, Embiid.
Oh, the front court.
Yeah, but I just look at the Western Conference, and it's just lackluster. That's why a bad team like the Lakers have a chance to maybe sneak in the playoffs, is because besides Memphis, who lost 5 in a row, in Denver, after that, I mean, you don't trust the Kings, and then everybody else is just bunched together.
So what do y'all think about the format? Because like I've heard 2 different things, and I'm kind of torn. Because like Kendrick Perkins was saying, "Yo, it's positionless basketball. Like Embiid should be there. It should be the top 5 guys, all 7-footers, whatever." But I think, and then Shaq was like, "Yo, we need a center spot to get Embiid in there." The interesting thing is, it's really not position driven at this point. It's 2 backcourt and 3 front court, so that does give you some flexibility. I do think Embiid got snubbed, but like, I don't know. It's just hard to get it right. I feel like it's hard to get it perfect. But Embiid should be starting.
Over who?
I mean, for me, in the front court, personally, it's tough to say this, but I think I would have him over KD considering the injury. I would have him over KD this year as a starting.
Nah. KD just got hurt. I mean, it's not like KD got hurt in December or something like Anthony Davis or something. KD just got hurt, and he was putting up he's putting up 30, and he's shooting
He leads the league in free throw percentage. That's just by default because I feel like you obviously can't put him over Tatum, and then Giannis has been pretty much living up to his T. So.
Yeah, I mean, and then also you have, and then it's funny because then you have Daryl Morey complain that the Boston media has bias. You're gonna legitimately tell me that Embiid should have been on a team over Tatum?
Yeah,
that's a joke.
He's the front runner for MVP.
And you can't sit here and tell me that the Boston media had some bias of they have more votes than the media votes or whatever the case is. I think that they got it right. It sucks. I disagree with it's positionless basketball because you're not playing four front court players at once. Tell me a team that does that. You have wing guys.
You might be able to go the other way though.
Yes, you may go the other way.
Yeah,
you see more. You see more. Yeah, exactly. So I think that's where it's let's just pick and it doesn't need to be a center spot because the reason why they went away from the center spot is because there were some guys who was getting in the All-Star game by default because they was designated a center.
So out names. What you talking about? Rudy Gobert?
Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say is that guys like Rudy Gobert is getting into the All-Star, and you're like, wait, what? And it's because
getting picked last every year.
or just the fact that the center position as a whole, maybe it's turning around, but as a whole, you can't sit there and say there is this X amount of centers in the centers or whatever the case is. There's, so that's kind of my point. I think they have it right. Some years you're gonna just have just like with the NFL, the playoffs. You're gonna have it didn't happen in the NFC, but you saw Tampa go 8-9, and you saw Tampa go 8-9 again in playoffs, and there wasn't a team that went 10-7 or something like that, and they missed the playoffs, and fans it ends up equaling itself out. It's gonna happen. You're gonna have somebody. He's gonna be an all-star regardless, whether he's a starter or not. So he's gonna be an all-star. I just had a gripe with. I mean, I guess it's his name requisite. But I thought that Mitchell and Brown should have been the backcourt.
I would have even Kyrie and Brown.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, so you say Brown over Mitchell?
Brown over either one. No
Kyrie,
bias.
I think is definitely a popularity play.
Yeah,
he's been balling this year. It's just, I mean, and he's been carrying the Nets. He started slow without KD. That's a tough one. Yeah, that backcourt is tough in the East.
Yeah, I mean, he made it. Whatever, I guess. Fine.
I mean, I still think the West has been mired. When you look at injuries, especially when you look at when you look at the West. I mean, I guess you can probably look at the record and say SGA. You can't put him there, but it's just Curry was hurt.
Curry can't not start.
If LeBron could play one game, if he's eligible to get votes, he's gonna lead the All-Star game in votes. Honestly.
So
I'm fan.
And I can probably see that, and it makes sense. Basically, you had Kyrie, and this may be more so because of the back end that the players probably got with him. They put him. He got the most number one votes from the player ring. Yeah, he had number one. He was number one in the fan, number one in the player, and then number 4 with the media.
Who's that?
Kyrie.
Number 4 with the media.
Yeah. And then you had Then you had Mitchell's 2 with the players, 2 in the ranks, fan ranks, and 1 in the media.
Okay.
And then Brown, you had 3 with the players, 3 with the fan, and 2 with the media.
What was it? Say that again.
3 with the players, 3 with the fans, and 2 with the media.
That's Brown.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So it was pretty. It was tight. Basically, and I look at the Tatum pick. The players had him 4.
God, I just hate.
But back to the Irvin thing. I can see with the whole situation where Irvin was suspended. I can see the players, looking at and cheering him on as he responded to that. So I think that may be more of, guys looking out for players looking out for them, themselves or whatnot, so I think that's where it also, I have a gripe and I'll sit there and say it like, how did I, I just seen it and it's like dawning on me, but there was some guy, I forgot who got more votes than Marcus Smart with the player votes. Like Marcus Smart got like 3 votes and like some like Austin Reeves guy got like 4. Not Austin Reeves, but it was something like a player on his caliber. And they were just like, no, Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen got 4 player votes.
Yeah, that just proves the players shouldn't be voting. Like, come on.
And this is what I'm saying though, is that like this is my argument when people use NBA players as the end all be all, because you can point to that right there. Like, what are we doing here? How is that even possible? Why is Grayson Allen getting any votes, period? Like, it's a joke.
That's wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely. But like I said, but even just like the pivot to just back to football, I'm happy that you have your 4 best teams, because I think that both matchups is going to be great. It's not a situation where I would think if the Jags some way snuck their way in, I think that would have been like a lopsided, game. So I think that we have 4 games that hopefully that you look at and say, these games are going to be entertaining to the end, and but y'all gonna lock y'all picks in now, or y'all gonna, because we recording y'all.
Yeah,
I'm gonna think about the if I change my pick, it's gonna be before like it's gonna be in the morning, but I'm probably not gonna change it.
Yeah, I'll see. If I switch it up, if anybody switches up, I'll officially mark it by like, just give it to me before game time and I'll update the spreadsheet and then I'll note it. And like when we record next week, I'll just be like, there was a last minute change. So
yeah.
The part that sucks is because, like I'm saying, I won't, like, it's like when you change that answer on the multiple choice, and your anxiety is like, damn, did I had the answer right along, and then I switched
it right.
I'm going
with one point you had it.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick with it.
And then all of a sudden you switch it and you're like, dog, why did I change it? What made me change it? So yeah, so I'm contemplating the Niners, but I think I'm gonna stick with mine too.
Mine would just be the Chiefs. But all right, y'all. That was episode 4. Appreciate the recording, and we look forward to tapping in next week. Next week, we're definitely going to dive more. We're going to do our Super Bowl predictions, but dive more into the NBA since there won't be NFL games. So be ready.
All right.
Catch y'all later, y'all.
All right.
Peace.